we have what's called an Eckman dredge. And this is used to sample the sediments at the bottom of a lake or a pond. And it is basically a big giant jaw that just kind of scoops up whatever's at the bottom of the lake. And the way that it's set is it's spring loaded, so you can kind of pull up the sides like. You got to make sure your fingers don't get caught in the jaw while you're setting it. It's a bit of a dangerous piece of equipment.
Finger trap.
Milo's not too sure about this.
I mean, this is pretty much useful though for any method section.
To show the struggle.
Isn't it? Like, you have a 1 in 2 chance of this actually being as you assumed. And you're close there.
Wait, you want to pause the video for a minute? Because I think I need your help. Oh, I got it. Okay, I got it. All right, so now, Milo, do not get your nose in there. All right, so it's set. You can see the jaws are open.
Don't put your finger under
This is the spring, these springs. When we send the messenger, like we did with the camera sampler, we're going to send the messenger down. It's going to release these springs, and then these side pieces are going to come off, and the jaw is going to close.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to lower it over the side slowly, so as not to activate the springs as we lower it until it hits the bottom.
It is, yeah, the anchor, it took a while to...
Okay, now it's on the bottom. Now we're going to send our messenger down. We might hear it close shut, close tight.
Ooh, totally, yeah.
Yeah. Now the tricky part is pulling it back up with this little cord.
That's only
it's not terrible.
500 pounds. So.
Now the really tricky part is pulling it out of the water without making a huge mess. Milo's going to help me make sure that this all goes properly. Now if you see in the water, you can see a little cloud of sediment coming out the bottom. So it wants to start leaking out. Oh, dang, it didn't disengage on both sides.
Okay.
See?
Oh, right. That could be this. Oh, yeah. So it tried, but it failed.
Yeah, it was a failed.
I kind of like this as a method section.
Yeah. Okay, it's on the bottom.
I love the noise.
Hopefully, both of them. It feels heavier this time. I think.
Don't be.
Don't count my chickens, right?
Always pessimistic.
I don't think it did.
No.
No. See. So in this video, we've learned two things. One is sort of how an Eckman dredge works. At least you've been able to see one and sort of understand what might happen if it was working properly. And two, you can see the challenges, the trials and tribulations of doing field work. We were out in a boat in the middle of the lake, far from shore, where we would be able to repair our equipment. And so we would have to go back and then fix the dredge and then maybe start out another day to collect our samples. And this type of thing happens a lot in field work. It's different from doing lab work. It's not to say lab work always goes perfectly, but in the field you're really dealing with even more variables, external variables, weather, and you're potentially traveling long distances and you might forget your equipment or your equipment might fail. And so you often have to plan in for these changes and contingency plans. So it requires a lot of patience and grit, but it really makes you appreciate those data points when you do get that.